Hey everybody, welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. So I'm out in the greenhouse. We're doing our greenhouse tour. It's right after Christmas. It's the 27th, and we're going to take a look and see how things are doing in the greenhouse. I almost went a little bit too long with my videos in between. The last video was on the 19th, and that was the container garden, and I've been so busy with Christmas this last week and all the things that were going on that I don't think I got around to doing a video. So anyways, let's get this one going. So let's see what's growing in the greenhouse today. It is unseasonably warm here in the Pacific Northwest this year. I'm wearing my Christmas PJs today, and they're just these nice fuzzy pajamas. I don't even need to wear a jacket. It's not even that cold outside. I'm not shivering, nothing like that, you guys. So that just kind of tells you how warm it is right here. 44 degrees out, you guys. So I don't know what that is in the European standards for degrees, but or Fahrenheit or whatever it is that everybody goes by. I'm not exactly sure. And so anyways, so let's see what's growing. So here are some of the pine berries and red berries. I don't know exactly sure which ones are which. I will be marking them this year when I start seeing fruit again. Only a couple of them actually put fruit on this last year because these were the runners from the year before. So these runners I planted into the dirt the end of, I'm wanting to say 2017, and so 2018, these are the plants. Only a couple of them produced in 2018, and now we're going to be going into 2019. So I suspect that they will be majority of all of them will be bearing fruit this year. So I'll be able to tell which ones are the pine berries and which ones are the red berries. And since these are not grown from seed, these ones I actually planted from runners from the parent plants. So that's important that you keep your runners and you plant them, because strawberries will, after a few years, generally tend to stop bearing fruit. So it's really a good idea to plant the runners and divide your strawberries up if they clump into like sections, and add on to the plant and break them apart and create more plants. That's what I did with some of my other ones this last year as well, or this year actually, 2018. And I noticed that I'm wanting to say it was the Parisians. No, it was the Pharisis. It's the ones with the pink blossoms I have up here on top. I haven't had, Parisians haven't produced for me yet. So the Pharisis is the one that actually added more to the base, and I was actually able to break that strawberries plant up around its own little cluster of roots and that sort of thing. And I didn't know that it would do that, but my Pharisis or Parisian, I'm getting them all confused, you guys. My Parisian, not my Pharisis, my Parisians are the ones that did that. So I'll show you that in a minute. But anyways, so these are doing good. And then these are also pine berries in here, along with either cutting celery, or I'm pretty sure that's what this is, and or parsley. And then I've got some little seedlings coming up in here. I don't know what these are. I'm gonna let them grow. There's quite a few of them actually popping up throughout. It could be celery coming up in the container in here. So I'm gonna let it come up. And then up here we've got the Swiss chard in the back. It's doing excellent. It's loving the greenhouse. So that's looking good. And check out my strawberry. I've got one here, here, and here. And it doesn't look like any of the other ones survived from that group. There was one here. I don't think this one is alive. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. If it comes back, it comes back. I don't think it will. There's one here and one here. And there's another one right here. And it looks like, yeah, it's coming back. So that's good. These ones are the Fresca. So I have not had any of the fruit off the Fresca. These are from the German packet of seeds that I had. I got those planted. Then here are my other pine berries. Same with on the other side over here. So those are all looking good. It looks like I'm going to be getting some blossoms here soon. And then I've got some up underneath here too. They're getting plenty of light, even if they're underneath. All right, we've got chives in the middle here, and then we've got either cutting celery or parsley. Can't remember which. Honestly, I've got a weed here. Pull that out while I'm here. It looks like I've got some green going on with this strawberry here, so possibly something. I might have messed it up just now. These are the Laurens. Not too many of those in this pot, so I'll just have to keep an eye on them this year. So they're not my favorite. I was planning on planting another variety in this container. Coming over here, these are my Pharisis. These ones I grew from seed from the store last year. So I have not had any fruit on these either. I do have some grass coming up, so I'll pull that out. I haven't had any fruit on any of these yet, so but I think these also will have a pink flower, so I'm looking forward to that. This one in the corner is mighty healthy. They're all doing really well though. So that's how they're looking. Not a whole lot of growth during the summer months, or winter months, I mean. You guys, I got summer on the brain. All right, this is how the lemon verbena is looking. It has some green leaves still, but a lot has died back. I haven't had to water it since November. It's still moist, very, very moist, so I'm leaving it alone. All right, continuing over. We've got in the top one, these are the Parisians. These are the ones that I was getting mixed up with the Pharisis. That was the Pharisis over here. These ones are the Parisian. These ones have the pink petals. There are still some pink petals down in there. Here's one strawberry that's trying to make it, you guys. Let's see how these ones are doing back here. They're not going to really develop very well in my greenhouse setup that I have here, but I have a lot of blossoms back in here coming on. A lot of little strawberry blossoms trying to come out. So I will be getting fruit early this spring, which will be nice. I don't expect anything to do anything this time of year, so you know, just keeping that in mind. And then I've got lots of moss. Loves to grow in these container pots. I actually think the moss is pretty. All right, so down in this container, I'll clear that up for you. This is the double or the bubbleberry strawberry. This is a heirloom strawberry, and it kind of tastes like a sweet bubble gum kind of. And I don't necessarily think it really tastes like bubble gum. It's just got a really nice flavor though. Different. I don't know what this. I think this might be a weed of some sort, but it's really pretty. I don't know what this is. And then there's something else growing right here. So I'm not exactly sure. That could be spinach, could be something, I'm not sure. All right, let's see how everything else is doing here. We've got here is the grape hyacinths. So I can't wait for these to start blooming. And then I can move them indoors possibly. I don't know what this is on my pot. It looks like it caught on fire. That's really, really weird. There's like an indent there, like that is really odd. That is really, really, really odd, you guys. All right. I'm looking to see where the sun's hitting, but that's really weird. It looks like fire. That's really weird. All right, like something hot, like just pointing right at it. Then right here is, I've got wild roses seeds planted in this container, but right now just moss taking over, so I can't wait to see if any of the roses come up that I planted. It was really kind of a pretty rose out in the forest, and I collected from the rose hips, and there was all these seeds in there, and so I would love to have a bush that grows the rose hips so that I can use them in teas and that sort of thing. So there's that. And then here's some more grape hyacinth back here. This moss is super tall, you guys. So tall. Look at that. It's so pretty. And this one's kind of spiky looking right here. Really kind of spiky. They're like two different kinds of mosses growing next to each other. It's probably the same moss, but it just looks like two different kinds. Then here I have another patch of moss that has come up in the container, and then this has the olive herb here, and then I have the lemon mint growing in this other section, and it looks like it's still alive, so we'll just watch it. It's not my favorite, so I'm okay with it going away. Then I'm taking a look down here. We've got all these containers planted with stuff. This is elderberries and goji sticks stuck in the ground, and that weed that I'm just leaving alone, and then the rosemary. And then here's another little weed, which I'll probably pull that weed right there that I'm pointing at. And then I've got the star jasmine, and it looks still like it's still alive, so that's really good. Continuing, this is possibly red currants. This is what I planted in this pot. I know in some of my past videos, a lot of times things will come up in my containers and I'll think it's one thing that it's not. And since I'm such a new grower, sometimes I'll label it as something, and then I'll find out that it's just like a standard weed, like either a weed, like a dandelion or a strawberry or a blackberry that's come up. And that's been my typical items that have popped up in my pots, unbeknownst to me. And now I'm starting to get to where I can recognize those weeds and those different berries and that sort of thing. When they do come up, I know exactly what they are right away. But that's what happens when you start growing more and more. You start noticing, and you start realizing what things are when they're growing. So in this pot I had planted red currant seeds, and whether or not that's what comes up, we'll just have to wait and see. Nothing came up last year, and I just left it alone, you guys. I didn't want to mess with it. So I do have a couple green things coming up here on the side right there, and we'll just have to wait and see if these are currants. I'm not gonna hold my breath on that because like I said, my track record has been not so great. And then this one, I had dwarf palm. It's planted in this, and possibly some other things, maybe. I got some gooseberries stuck in this one, and then I got my nettles back here in the corner. Down in the back on the bottom row, I've got my gooseberries planted in that container, and then I've got gooseberries all along the bottom row, which I will be offering for sale this spring. So those are looking really good. Right here is my St. John's wort, white mulberry, which you can't really see anything. There's the twig right there sticking up. We'll see what comes back in the spring. Blueberry right there in the middle by the little rock right here. American blueberry. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Then I've got some other little green bits that have come up right here. Don't know what they are. My phone doesn't want to focus on it. You guys, you see how moist the ground is? I haven't watered since November. Okay, so just letting you know, everything's still nice and moist out here outside. And then these are blueberries back here in this back pot. We'll wait and see what things have made it when springtime rolls around, but I can still see a lot of green and a lot of buds, so I'm very hopeful. I do see some dieback possibly, So we'll just have to wait and see. Then I have planted in these. I've got nuts in these 3 here. There's almond nuts planted in this one, pecans in the middle, and on the side one I have hazelnuts. Now, whether or not they sprout and come up, that's to be determined. So we'll just have to wait and see. I got that avocado pit in the back corner, may or may not live. Tomatoes and stuff are right here in this section here. Yeah, you guys are dead. So yeah, they didn't make it. The stem on the green Cape gooseberry is still very green, and it does look like a couple of the leaves right in this area, they're trying to stay alive, but they're dead. But the stalk part is still alive, and it's still very, very green. It's not all dead yet, so I'm hopeful to see if maybe the greenhouse saves some of this. So we'll just have to wait and see, you guys, if it makes it to spring and brings back any leaves in the spring. But chances are it's not. Chances are it's going to do just like the tomatoes, and it's going to completely die, which means I'm going to be getting the tomatoes out of here now and moving everything back. This one right here, I've got more Swiss chard, and I've got my, in that pot right there, you can see that is a white mulberry. I've got some more gooseberries back here, 3 of them. And then I got some gooseberries down in this container here. And then over here, I've got fig seeds in this pot. You can kind of see some of the fig seeds, but there's tons of them in there, so they're down under the ground. This is the peach tree that I have growing. Still has its leaves because we're in the greenhouse. And then this is the pear. It's closer to the outside window door area. It's all a window, let's just be completely honest there. But we do have some yellowing leaves, so which means it looks like they will fall off before spring. Then I've got elderberries down here in the front, and I have some of the Crandall currants, which I don't think any of them are gonna make it at all. I think I needed to have waited until possibly February to take cuttings. So live and learn, you guys. I'm living and learning. All right, moving up. My weeds are still doing pretty good. We'll see what comes back. I did drop a lot of seeds in there from the parent plant, so it's all good. Crandall currants again, and maybe some gooseberries, I'm not sure, in this one. And then I've got rosemary growing in here, and they all look really, really healthy. And then a random stick that I'm not growing. So that pretty much concludes everything that's in the greenhouse, how everything is looking. I'm pretty pleased with everything. I haven't been out here haven't been in the greenhouse since the last time I did a greenhouse video with you guys. And frankly, I love that fact that I love the fall, that I can water and then I can just leave stuff alone for a while. Okay, Walter, you're gonna have to go out. He's got the cone of shame on, you guys. Back up, buddy. You can't get in here. Go on. Our poor dog. Let you in on a thing here. Every time I leave the house, my dog gets so depressed. He gets so sad because he's very codependent, and when I'm not home, he misses me terribly. And anyways, we looked it up because of the way his wound looked, and he's basically addicted to licking. And when he licks, it releases some sort of endorphins in his brain, which act like a drug, and he gets addicted to licking. And he's licking because he's depressed, and he's depressed because his mommy, me, I get so busy, and anytime I leave the house, he gets depressed. So like if I go grocery shopping, he gets depressed. And when I get home, he'll scream at the door, but it sounds like he's saying mommy. It's really funny because that's exactly how it sounds. It sounds like he's saying mommy when I come home. And and I've been super busy, and we've had some long nights during this holiday seasons, and going to in-laws houses and that sort of thing, and being gone for a little bit longer than normal. And so he didn't like being left outside without us, and he was super sad, and so he started scratching, and his sore looks a lot better. It's right here, and he scratched so much, and he would scratch and then lick his paws. So we found out that it's actually a mental condition. And so so he has to wear the cone of shame for about 3 to 6 months. And then I told my husband that whenever I leave the house, that we have to put the cone on him after that, because if he gets depressed and he starts licking his paws and his legs, he's actually discolored the fur on the front of his legs because he just licks so much. So, and he'll lick all the fur off, so it's like basically no fur there. So whenever I leave, I've decided we put the cone on him, and that way it'll prevent him from licking anymore until he gets to the point where maybe we won't have to use the cone anymore. But I'm thinking that the cone is going to be kind of a permanent thing whenever we leave the house, that he has to have it on, because we just can't have him hurting himself. And he's a military pet. We're his at least third American family. He was born in Germany, and the breeders were German, and so he initially started out with them, and then he had 2 other American families before we got him. So technically we're his 4th family in his entire life, and he's 12 now. And so he's had a lot of upheaval, and when somebody leaves, he thinks they're never coming back. And so he's really attached to me, and he just gets so depressed whenever I leave. Even if it's like 10 minutes, he stresses out. So I was telling my husband what we need to do is we need to get a vest for myself and a leash for him to hook to me, so that I could be his come here, Walter. That way I can be his service person, because you know how we have the service dogs. Well, my dog needs a service person. And with how crazy this world is becoming, I don't see how that could be not something that could be something, if you know what I mean, with all the different labels people are giving to things and people identifying with certain things. My dog identifies as a human, okay, and he identifies me as being his service person. So I may have to, because I do have a little bit of anxiety, but nothing that is my anxiety is a full-on medical condition because of me being a Fragile X carrier. I'm more prone to anxiety, and it's not just a mental thing. Like some people get anxiety and it's more of like a mental condition, kind of like what my dog has, but my anxiety is actually a medical condition because of a my medical history from being a Fragile X carrier, where I have a mutation of a gene, and so I'm more prone to the anxiety than other people generally would be. And so technically I probably could get my dog a vest and get him registered as a therapy dog, so I can take him into stores. And you know what? I think I might actually look into doing that. That way I can bring him everywhere we go, and places can't deny him coming with me. That might actually help him too, because he does help me relax too, so that my anxiety doesn't get so I don't get overstressed when I get around large groups of people. But generally I can handle it, but every now and then my anxiety will get the better of me. But normally I get the anxiety when I get too stressed out, like my life gets too busy or I've overcommitted too much, and that's when I generally get my anxiety. So I'm thinking it might be something to look into. So anyways, you guys, thanks for coming along for this video. I left the greenhouse, of course. It's over there. in the corner. And that's the tour of that. And then you got the little tidbit on Mr. Walter there and his craziness with the cone of shame. Poor baby. I really feel bad for him, but I'm really, really thankful that we have the internet so that we could look it up and figure out that it wasn't fleas and that it wasn't something related to ticks, and that it is actually a mental disorder for our dog, and it is something that we can help with a little bit and try to get him not to do. So now he's only scratching because his wound is healing, and now it's just keeping him from scratching while that completely heals and goes away. And then we keep the cone on. So he's doing great. He does get the cone off so that he can eat and drink throughout the day, but we have to watch him very, very closely. So anyways, you guys, thanks so much for... I can't talk. Thanks so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and click that bell button. And as always, you guys, have a wonderful day, and God bless. Bye.